Thanks for having me. John Ortwerth, Chief Revenue Officer at WorkWave. I've been here about 8 months. We focus on a few different field service verticals in the pest space, lawn and landscape, security and cleaning spaces in the US, and then internationally in the security and cleaning spaces in the EMEA space, and then also in APAC. As far as our mission and my job, it's obviously to grow bookings, to get our team to do bigger and better things with our customers, to serve clients, serve prospects, and grow out the organization. Salespeople and sales professionals, you now have access to more data and greater information and all sorts of things at your fingertips you didn't otherwise have as easy access to before. And so I think about the kind of the intersection of where we were as a team, where we were kind of a reactive sales force, for lack of a better word, as I came into the organization. And we had an opportunity to do a little bit more proactive work, proactive selling, read the information we had available, both internally and externally, and how do we drive that into more value-based conversations for our prospects and for our current customers. And so, and then you throw on top of it, you had this AI revolution going on at the same time. And so it was really a kind of a moment in time we had the ability to capture, as we look for partners to better access, better leverage, but all with the eye on, hey, when we show up to meet with our customers, we need to know as much information as we can when it's time to arrive. And then also, like, how does that translate to value for the end client? And the more expeditiously we can do that, to then deliver the value that ultimately the customer wants from their choice providers, that's a really good outcome for us. And yes, there's a self-serving element to it too. We're by nature then going to deliver more value, sell more product, drive more bookings, and all the piece behind that. But if you start with that customer interaction in mind, I think that is going to lead to a really good outcome from us as an organization, as a sales force, and individually the sellers, if they leverage the tools that are around them as they come together, then they're going to have more success too. Certain individuals can lean too heavily on all the AI and the tools that are available, and they're losing a little bit of the human touch. And so I always tell my team, in a world full of AI, in a world full of automation, you've got to be human, and you got to drive the human connection more often than ever. But you've got to leverage the tools, the resources, and the things around you to then make your human interactions as best as they can possibly be. And so I think, the striking that right balance of, hey, I've got all these things at my fingertips, but I've also then have to drive the customer conversations and make my interactions even more well-schooled, is really what that special sauce is going to lead to, as folks look to drive value. Like I said in the previous question, ultimately to drive a value-based and a business value customer conversation at the end of the day. There are more tools, resources, and technology available to be more effective in our work lives. And I think as we hire people to work in whatever organization you work in, you have to find people with the right DNA that are willing to lean into whatever technology is available in the given market. And so WorkWave is no exception to that, is how I really think about it. We have a responsibility to bring folks in that have the AI mindset, that have a tech forward mindset, that are willing to adapt to change. And so as we've picked tools, Aida being one of them, we want people that are willing to leverage the tool to utilize technology to be more effective in their roles on a day-to-day, and like I've said before, deliver better customer value at the end of the day. And so we want people that are going to leverage whatever technology we have to be more effective in their roles and drive more value. That's the type of leader I want to be, is that we're getting in the weeds with our people. We're coaching them side by side. We're heavily invested in the leader and how they coach. and then therefore heavily invested in the individual contributor and how they lift up and how they get better in their day-to-day. But in today's work environment, the best way to do that is leveraging a technology that's at our fingertips that has a pulse on all interactions from a customer standpoint. As we put Aida in, and you referenced my past experience with Gong, listen, I think I had a good experience with Gong. I had a lot of things that I would have available to me and insights into what was going on from a customer conversation perspective. I went into it with a very open mind of, hey, like, this is a great tool. They're building out a lot of functionality for us. The agentic work that's there is extremely helpful to my team. And then my team started testing it and trying it and getting the feedback around it. And it was resoundingly positive of how it was helping my team and our leaders be more forward thinking, more prescriptive in their communication, and really spotting blind spots and opportunities that we didn't otherwise see. And I can't speak to, we aren't running two systems at once. I don't know if Gong would have seen that or not, but I do know one thing that I love about Aida is the user friendliness element to it, and how we get information in a clear, concise way to our sellers, to our teams. The UI on the desktop app is extremely easy to use. And then I love the chat functionality around it, of how a leader and a seller can go in and ask questions and clearly understand what's going on in their deal with a couple of prompts. The other thing I'm extremely excited about is the coaching functionality. My firm belief in how leaders should coach their sellers. Having a kind of a scorecard and a rubric that we're walking through for our individual segments and what we want our people to be prioritizing in their customer conversations, and then a tool that rates them and benchmarks them against the individual sellers that you have, and kind of says, hey, here's what great looks like, and here's middle of the road, and here's down, and here's what we could do to be better as you go forward. That level of, one, detail in the individual interactions, two, spotting blind spots, and then three, having that kind of coaching companion, if you will, or the AI coach that's leaning in with you to help you, really glean those insights. It's become an invaluable part of our process. A real-time example this morning, there was a transcript of a positive product feedback call that we wanted to share back out to our product organization. What they're doing is working, and so we're sharing feedback directly from Aida or customer interactions that are recorded by Aida, with the full transcript and how that's going back into our product organization, and then that's translating into our marketing organization and how we're drafting communications on that side of the house as well. Same goes for the CS world too. So it's what has started as, hey, let's get a sales conversational tool in, has now become a cross-functional tool that's impacting the broader WorkWave ecosystem and helping us run a more cohesive, proactive business unit from top to bottom. Specific to Aida, it really has though become, and I'm not just saying this, like it's become my go-to spot for how I inspect deals, inspect pipeline, inspect coaching, and really understand what's going on at the rep level. And so it's become a critical piece for how we manage the business, how we manage the forecast, how we triangulate where we're going from an expectations perspective. I'm really pressing into how we can do even more within the Aida ecosystem, and making sure that we can almost get as much as we can on the front of the funnel is the other place my head is going, of can we get more pipeline build stuff going on, thinking about cadences and thinking about more broadly on that side of the equation. It's a people business, and it's always been a people business, and I think it will always be a people business. Sales is one of those careers where, and as you lead sales teams and salespeople and sales leaders, you've got to engage the group, and you've got to keep them heavily focused on what we do day in and day out, which is drive customer interactions, drive value, and deliver business outcomes. Now, what's changed over time is there's more data available to everybody at every different point throughout your day. But what I think is extremely important is that people stay disciplined on what are the 4, 5, 6 data points that are your non-negotiables that you have to measure to on a quarterly, annual basis as you drive success in the team. And then you systematize those, and you take those data points and you make sure that you're measuring to them day in and day out, and then you're utilizing that to get back to where I started, motivate your people day in and day out, because you got to utilize data to then get your arms around your people to then either praise them and what's going well, or provide an arm around them and a gut punch on where they need to get things going in the right direction. But you got to do that rooted in data that's all around you to make sure that you're utilizing that for them to have success. And that plays into Salesforce, Aida, whatever tool it is. You've got to utilize what's at your fingertips to make sure that you're driving people interactions, you're coaching folks up, you're showing them how to have success, and you're helping them win. Ultimately, is what it's all about. Because if our people are winning and our leaders are winning, then naturally, as a byproduct, the sales organization and the overall company is going to win. I coach 8-year-old boy basketball, so like that, I'm by no means like Phil Jackson or anything like that. At this point, I'm still just trying to get kids in the right spots to have success, and so we'll go with there's my analogy. It's getting people in the right spots where they can actually win and have success, which is the same thing I'm trying to do in 8-year-old basketball, ironically. But I think that's what the best leaders do: set your people up to have success, give them the tools to have success, and then get out of the way and let them play.